स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय Ramakrishnaaya te namaha. So today morning we had a special worship to celebrate the birth anniversary of Sri Ramakrishna. The actual date this year was on 12th of March, Tuesday. But as is the practice, we always celebrate it in the weekend so that all can attend the program. So in the morning we had puja, homa, and as per our schedule to the evening we have a talk on the topic Sri Ramakrishna, an exemplar for everyone, an ideal for all. That the universality, the Catholicity of his life, that what's the main aspects of his life that appeals to all in general. That nowadays we hear that we as such don't want to conform to any denominational religion, but we are spiritual. In that context, what's the role Sri Ramakrishna has to play in our lives? That's the thing which we will try to understand in today's short discussion. As the theme of the discussion, we will take into account the pranam mantra which we just chanted before starting this discussion. It was almost an extempore composition of Swami Vivekananda. After his return from the West, he was invited to inaugurate the shrine of Sri Ramakrishna in one of his devotees' house, and when he reached there, he almost instantly he composed this pranam mantra, which we chant almost every day when in the evening artrikam, when we have our songs. That's the pranam mantra which we chant every day. What's that? Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharma swarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. So what it is saying? Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. That he has as if established religion. So first let us go through the literal meaning of what this sloka says. Swami Vivekananda's composition, that Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. He has as if established religion. Sarva dharma swarupine. In the process of establishing religion, he became the embodiment of all the religions. This is something very, very profound. That he established, his arrival was for the establishment of the religion. And it was not any denominational religion. In the process of establishing religion for the entire humankind, he himself became the embodiment, Sarva Dharma Swarupine. He became the embodiment of each and every religion. And then what Swamiji says, many may say that it is because Swami Vivekananda is a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and every disciple do have the right to think his own guru as the supreme. And that's why Swami Vivekananda must have coined this term for Sri Ramakrishna. What is saying? Avatara Varisthaya. He is the supreme among all the divine incarnations. So this type of terminologies, phrases, behind which we may find that there is as if some type of fanaticism. But why Swami Vivekananda is saying that, we will try to understand. That is it mere devotion, or he has some reason to say that? And after saying all those three aspects of his life, he is just, the last phrase is Ramakrishna te namaha. that such Ramakrishna, who has established religion, and in the process of establishing religion, he became the embodiment of all the religions, and in doing so, he have proven himself to be the supreme among all the divine incarnations. To such Sri Ramakrishna, I bow down. Ramakrishnaya te namaha. So we will take phrase by phrase to understand that the Sri Ramakrishna's religion is no denominational religion. It actually speaks of the spiritual quest which we in the modern world, whether we adhere to any denominational religion or not, we find it is the common quest of the majority of the humankind. That we do have that quest. That question do arise, that is this life the be-all and end-all of our existence, or something transcends it? Something is there beyond it. The search for this answer do come to our life at certain phase for almost all the human beings. We cannot, as Swami Vivekananda in one of his lectures says, that as long as death is there, death tolls in this earth. However we may try to hide our face in the so-called pleasures of life, not to give any inkling, any importance to any other questions, big questions of life. Just I am happy with this life. If even that is our quest, know it for certain. There are certain moments in life where our near and dear ones passed away, or some crisis, we have fallen on some crisis, and we find that we are, as if in the words of Swami Vivekananda, as if we are on the precipice, that we were in an adventurous journey. We thought that it is an unending journey. I will go on as if climbing the ladders of success, and suddenly I find I have reached the precipice. One step ahead, it will lead to fall where I don't know where. I see everything dark. I am as if in a corner. And that's the thing which do come for most of us in our life. And then the spiritual quest comes. So those who have that spiritual quest, for all such person, Ramakrishna can be an exemplar. He can be an ideal. So what actually the first phrase means, Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. Now dharma has various meaning. We will go to the particular aspect, particular meaning of the word dharma, which implies that meaning of this phrase Sthapakaya cha dharma. So that how Sri Ramakrishna established religion, how he did. Not only the Hindu religion, any religion, he has established it. How? You may say it's a big claim. So now, one thing is very important. In each and every religion, there are two aspects. One is the faith and another is the realization. That we all start with faith. We believe in God. The Buddhists may not believe in God, but they believe in some eternal laws. So there is something which is underlying this universe, maybe as universal law or as some God who may be an embodied being, formless, whatever it may be. We have certain beliefs in all the religion. Now the question is that what's the basis of that belief? For most of us, it is just the scriptures. It is just the words of the scriptures which has came down to us through generations. That's what is our standpoint of our belief in God. Have we realized? Is there anyone that who have realized God? You will find in the life of Narendranath, the future Swami Vivekananda, that was the question. That the God, everyone speaks of God, but have anyone realized it? As a young man, he was in search of a person who have seen God. We find that young Naren going from one organization to another organization, one religious leader to another religious leader. He's going to the various preachers with a simple question, "Sir, have you seen God?" And nowhere he gets satisfactory answer. At last, when he comes to Sri Ramakrishna, we find the direct answer. When he is asked, "Sir, have you seen God?" "Yes, I have seen God. Not only that, I can show God to you." What a wonderful assertion we find that Sri Ramakrishna is speaking of to Narendranath, that I have seen God with full confidence. When he's saying I have seen God, there is no doubt about it. It is a realization. As in the Aratrika song just now we were saying, that Sri Ramakrishna, while describing him, Narendranath is saying, "Gata Shangshaya Drira Nishchaya." All the doubts have vanished. He is established in firm conviction, Drira Nishchaya. How is that happened? In our life we will find, as long as the knowledge is conceptual, it is just a concept. It is no knowledge at all. It can never give us the real knowledge. Conceptual knowledge is no knowledge. The real knowledge is realization. The concept, has it become a realization in your life? If it is a realization, then only it speaks of conviction. Otherwise, it's just mere intellectual understanding which in no way can help us in the turmoils and crises of our life. It cannot help. We may think that I am intellectually convinced with this idea, but you will find when the crisis is there, that idea in no way you will find is helping you. You cannot implement that idea in your day-to-day life. As Swami Vivekananda used to give that wonderful example of a stag. We say this again and again, that a stag, a male deer, was one day just seeing his own reflection in a reservoir. And it saw that its limbs are very muscular. And it started bragging out of pride to the young fawn. The young fawn was nearby, the young deer. To it was bragging, "See how strong I am, how well built I am." And then from nowhere, the stag heard the barking of a dog and it started running frantically. It was running. After a long distance, when it thought it is safe, it stopped. It was panting for breath. And the young one also was following him. So now the young one was surprised. Just now you were so confident about your strength. You were looking at your own reflection, seeing your own muscular limbs. You were full of confidence. What happened that made you run? You were so scared. What happened? And then the stag replied, "I don't know what happens to me when I hear the barking of a dog." All the confidence vanishes. So you'll find that all the idea that I am Atman, I am Brahman, I am above the so-called flow which we find in the body-mind complex, which is constantly changing. Nothing affects me. It's good to contemplate. It gives us a type of relaxation, a type of peace. But when I am in crisis in life, you will find it is not helping in any way. As Sri Ramakrishna simply used to say, what's the use of constantly saying that I am Atman, I am Brahman, when a small thorn pricks you and you feel the pain? You have not yet in any way separated yourself from your identification with the body, and you just say I am the Atman. What's the use of that? So this speaks the difference between intellectual conviction and realization. When realization happens, the same person becomes fearless. As Swami Vivekananda again speaks of that fearlessness of a realized soul. What he's saying? That a sannyasin, a monk, he was a realized soul. He always used to chant, "Soham, Soham, I am that, I am that." And one day a tiger came from the forest and it dragged that person deep into the forest. And everyone was sure that this monk is going to die. It has been caught by this tiger. And the villagers from distance could hear that as long as he was dragged, as long as he was conscious, till his last breath, they could hear the chanting still going on. That I am he, I am he, I am that, I am that. That never stopped till his last breath. So that's, Swami is saying there are two types of fearlessness. That some can stand in front of the cannon in the battlefield, face the so-called, the opponent, the enemy with full courage, with full valor. That is one type of fearlessness. People don't understand that there is another fearlessness. The fearlessness that which comes from the spiritual conviction that I am the Atman, I have realized. This body is just a flow. It was born in certain point of time. It is going to disintegrate at certain point of time. It is not going to affect the real me. It is his conviction. It came from realization. Once that happens, nothing in this life can affect him. He has transcended all the dualities of life. So to understand that what actually is realization. Unless that is there, what to speak of fearlessness? All the fight, quarrels in the world which we see in the name of religion is because for us, religion is just a matter of doctrine and dogma, faith in some doctrine and dogma. Let us try to understand what's the difference between faith and realization. Suppose a man who has tasted mango, and he comes and describes the taste of mango to a group of people who have never tasted. So he says them that mango is sweet and it has a very nice flavor. All the people who listened to him, they thought we have understood. Because they have the experience of something sweet, they have the experience of nice flavor. So they tried to relate his words with the fund of experiences they had. Someone thought that mango must be as sweet as molasses, and most probably it has some fragrance which speaks of its flavor of a rose. Someone thought they are all relating their available fund of experience with the words of the one who has really tasted the mango. Someone thought, oh no, it most probably tastes like honey, is as sweet as honey, and it has a flavor of, say, tuberose. Someone says no, it is as sweet as sugar, and it has the nice flavor of jasmine. So now see, so the varied opinions have formed. All the varied opinions have formed. Why? Because everyone thinks that I have understood the word, and it is mere faith. They have not realized, they have not tasted the mango. And see how many opinions have formed. And they all start fighting with each other. Writing books. Some might have written book about taste of mango for most probably volumes together, thinking he is a very learned person. But one day, among all those who have actually had a conception of the taste of mango but have not tasted it, one of them tests the mango. Someone gives him the mango and he tests. And most probably he was considered as the most learned person among all those who have never tasted mango. What he will do? He himself will go and destroy all the volumes which he have written. Just one test. Knowledge comes in a flash. The moment you realize, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, suppose a room was dark for thousands of years. A cave was dark for thousands of years. And you go inside and just strike a matchstick. And in a flash, the darkness vanishes. Does it take another 1,000 years to vanish little by little? No. It might have been dark for thousands of years, but just a flash of light immediately vanishes all the darkness. So that's knowledge. That we may have all sorts of wrong conceptions, but the moment the knowledge dawns in, and knowledge dawns in is only from realization, all the darkness vanishes just in a flash. Just in a one moment, everything vanishes. Till then, all these various concepts are there only to create turmoil, strife, tension, fight. In the name of religion, we at last prove ourselves to be the votaries of Satan, not of God. We claim that we are the votaries of God. We are the believers of God. But we are the votaries of Satan. There's a very nice, a parable which speaks of that how we all, those who just believe religion is just something, a matter of faith, of belief in particular doctrine, how they all turn out to be the votaries of Satan. That one day, one of the votaries of Satan saw there's a huge crowd surrounding a person, a very illumined person. He is speaking out the truth, and there's a huge crowd has assembled around him. Now this votary of Satan was very much concerned. Now the Satan's kingdom is gone. God has incarnated, he's speaking out, spelling out the truth. All the darkness will vanish. The Satan's reign is over. So he ran to Satan to give the news that God has incarnated. He's spelling out the truth. There's a huge crowd around him. It's a matter of our concern. Satan was totally unperturbed. He was still relaxing. And this votary was surprised. Are you not concerned? And then Satan told, you are fool. Just go and have an intent look that all those who have gathered around that illumined soul, who are they? You will find they are all my votaries. They listen to the words and they will spread the word of truth, and my work will be done. My work will be done. They all hear the taste of mango, and in their own way they will be describing the taste of mango, forming various creeds, denominations, fighting for ages together. It goes on. So can we claim ourselves to be the followers of religion unless we can assert that I have realized the truth? If it is a mere faith, it can never be. Sometimes Swami says that I appreciate the sincere atheists. Those who simply say I have no interest with religion, I'm an atheist. I really appreciate them. They are far better than the so-called atheists who claims themselves to be religious. You have not seen anything, you have not realized anything, and we are all claiming to be religious. It is an atheism. It is a more dangerous atheism than the so-called atheist who frankly says, I don't believe in God. Swamiji says they are much safer. This is better. So now you will understand when we say Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. It's not only of one religion. For all the religion, this is the fact. There's two aspects of religion, faith and realization. We can start with the faith, no harm in it. But does it lead us to the realization? If it doesn't lead us to the realization, then it can be horrible. Now you will understand when Swami Vivekananda says that it is good to be born in a church, but it is horrible to die there. What its meaning is. It's good to be that we are born in certain faith, we start our journey holding on to that faith, and we are sincere enough to really progress with purity, patience, perseverance. Purity speaks of our adherence to that faith, and we are patient. We go on practicing with the full faith that this is going to take me to realization, and for that I go on persevering, I go on trying. I am not just satisfied by adhering to a particular belief system. I really want, if God is, I want to see Him. So this type of tremendous, the urge, yearning, is it there in our life? If it is there, then you will find in all the religion, there are a class of evolved souls who are called the mystics. You will find their language is almost the same. They are speaking of some unitary experience. The framework may be different, but they all speak of some unitary experience. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, there all the fox howls in the same manner when they reach there. You find in all the religions, not all the religions, in Hinduism it has never happened. In other religions, there was tremendous persecution. That if anyone went to that unitary experience, his words doesn't tally with the doctrines and dogmas, and they were considered as heretics. They were burnt alive. They were killed. But we find their life, as we told, that their life is an example of fearlessness. That in spite of all the persecution, as they were established in the truth, they knew what the truth is. They knew nothing can kill them. So they transcended all the so-called strifes and tensions of life. All the censoring they have transcended. And nothing could waver their conviction. It has happened in all the religion. If you read the history, you will find. The mystics almost speak in the same language in spite of persecution. So somehow in Hinduism, this type of persecution never happened. Because the idea that the truth is one, the sages describe it in various ways. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. That was something which was the belief system in the Hinduism, and which allowed the Hinduism to grow in such a way where this idea was we were quite at home with that idea, that there can be various approach to the truth. It is called ahangraha upasana. It is called ishtanista. That what's the basic idea? With an example we can try to explain. That suppose a surgeon has 3-4 children. From his hospital, when he returns, he comes home, he opens his white coat, he keeps the stethoscope, he opens his shoes, and all the 3-4 children, they come running. Someone wears the white coat and he's running around the house posing as if he's the doctor, he's the surgeon. Another child comes and takes the stethoscope and he will be putting in everyone's chest as if he's the doctor. And the youngest one comes and wears the shoes of the father. You'll find the child never wears its own shoes. He will always wear the shoes of the elderly members of the family, and just moving around with the full confidence as if he is the doctor. These are all childish acts. Just by wearing the white coat, we don't become a doctor. Just by putting the stethoscope in others' chest, we don't become a doctor. By wearing a doctor's shoes, I don't become a doctor. This is all just childish act. But the father is happy, very happy. He knows through all those mere childish acts, everyone in their mind is developing a motivation. What's that motivation? One day I have to be like my father. One day I have to become a very renowned surgeon, a renowned doctor like my father. So these acts are childish. They are varied acts. But the same motivation is working through all of them. They are childish acts. Apparently, they appear to have no meaning. They are all various types, varied. But the basic motivation behind all of them is the same. That we all have to become like our father. And now if you see these varied practices of the religion, the faith, that way do help. That practices may be varied. There may be a lot of rituals. Some may have no rituals. Those who have no rituals, they sometimes brag, oh, rituals is all nonsense. Just see how we have reformed the religion by going beyond rituals. So in Hinduism, they say it's all nonsense. What you see is just the programming. It doesn't speak of the truth. When Buddha was asked that why don't you speak about God definitely, whether God is or whether God is not, his answer was simple. I never speak of principle. I speak of the way, not of the principle. Because the thing which you have not realized, what's the use of speaking of it? No one will understand. But there is a way to reach there. I speak of the way, but alas, the world always takes the index finger to be the moon. Someone was pointing to the moon. To show the moon, someone was pointing to the moon with the index finger. And the person took the index finger to be the moon. So all these are the ways. Whether it's ritual or no ritual, whether God is with form or no form, these are all ways. Faith is good. Faith itself is blind, but it can be an eye-opener. Follow them, and the motivation that works be within you, that is going to take you to the realization if you're sincere about it. Now you will understand when it is meant, when it is said, Swamiji is saying, Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. Sri Ramakrishna was a glutton, spiritual glutton. At the very beginning, inception of his spiritual journey, just by yearning and faith, he attained that he was a worshipper of the Mother Kali. In a very short time, he went to the realization. His spiritual journey could have stopped there itself, with the satisfaction, I have realized. But we find it was just the beginning for him. He is termed as a spiritual glutton, the tremendous curiosity, that what about other faith? There are so many faith. They all profess that through them they can go to the divine realization. Is it true? One by one, he started practicing all the religion. He conquered the citadel of each and every religion with that earnestness, with that quest, went to the realization of so many paths. For 12 years, his spiritual journey was going on to at last declare that all the paths all the faiths are the path which helps us to transcend this world of duality, to get established in the spiritual domain of our existence. So that's how he established not only Hinduism, all the religions, by focusing to this fact that don't just be satisfied with the mere faiths. Religion is the way to spirituality, the spirituality which we all aspire for. The portal which opens up the spiritual dimension of our existence, that each and every religion can help us. Has it helped you to really open up that portal so that you can relate to the spiritual dimension? If that has happened, then only that religion has some value. This is the thing we find is being pinpointed in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, and he has done it not by just through some intellectual conviction or some intellectual academic lecture. No, it was something from his realization. He was almost an illiterate person. He had no such educational background, but from the depth of his realization when he was speaking, what he was speaking was something very profound. He was pointing, highlighting that the age will come where people are not bothered about the denominational religion. In the present world, all the fight in the name of religion, why it is going on, because the majority has started losing faith in all the denominational religion. And those few who are sitting on the head of all the denominational religion, they find they are in crisis. It is those few who are creating the turmoil in the world. If you go to and knock at each and every door of a house and ask that, do you really believe in this? No. They all are sincere about the spiritual quest. And here when we say that Sri Ramakrishna is an exemplar for everyone in this matter, that in this age where we are not at all interested in the so-called denominational, conventional religion, we all have that inner quest to find the spiritual dimension of existence. Sri Ramakrishna is the answer. He says, you don't have to convert yourself to some other religion. The background in which you are born, it's very good to remain there because you are rooted there. They naturally help you. From the childhood you were in some culture. That helps you, well and good. With that you grow, but don't remain there. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, a small sapling needs a fence. But when it becomes a big tree, even you can tie an elephant. Nothing happens to that. But as a sapling, it do need some protection. So all the religions are like that fence. They do have some purpose. But unless we have outgrown, what's the use of this human life? That it becomes that Swamiji is again and again saying, it's good to be born in a church, it is horrible to die there. And that's what happens with the majority of us. That's what has happened with the entire human civilization, that how horrible the religion becomes when we die there. It was very good we were born there, but when we die there, it becomes horrible. It becomes a caricature. So now you will understand what is meant by sthapakaya cha dharmasya. And we were just mentioning, in the process of establishing all the religion, he became sarva dharma swarupine. He became as if the embodiment of all the religions. How he became the embodiment? Now when you are sincerely trying, just we told, as we were mentioning, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, all the faiths are blind. All faith means blind. I just believe, I haven't seen. That speaks of blind. And there is a nice incident in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that once Narendranath in Dakshineshwar was saying Sri Ramakrishna, was conversing with Sri Ramakrishna, and he indicated that such and such faith is a blind faith. And Ramakrishna started laughing. Naren was surprised. He told, what makes you laugh? Have I told something which is not correct? Isn't it a very crude faith? Isn't it a blind faith? Ramakrishna's answer was wonderful. He told, well, tell me, which faith has eyes? Which faith has... Faith means blind. I have faith. I have belief. I haven't seen, but I believe. That itself speaks that it is blind. Which faith has eyes? All our fight, my religion is good, his religion is bad, is all fighting with the faith. What, have you seen God? Have you seen the God which you claim to be the supreme? Have you seen? So it is all faith. Which faith has eyes? And after that, what he says is interesting. Yes, they are all blind, but they can be eye-opener. You hold on to them, how it can be an eye-opener? So all the faith, what's the basic thing you know? That whatever you believe, whatever the form, whatever the aspect of divinity you may believe, if you're sincere, that will lead to contemplation. You will be again and again contemplating on that aspect of the divinity. Some may say it is very crude. It's a very crude idea. It's a phallic symbol. Nowadays, like a Shivalinga, others will say. All sorts of nonsense people will say. But the one who is the worshipper of the Shiva, he doesn't take it as a phallic symbol. He is every day worshipping it, thinking it to be the divine, contemplating on it. What happens? It's just like a computer programming. What you believe is not important. How sincerely you believe, that is important. What happens, when you really start repetitive meditation on the faith, on the concept which you believe, it is just a belief. It's just an imagination. But well and good. How sincere, how simply, how with full yearning you believe in that. That is very important. That will make you to contemplate on it again and again. When you contemplate on it again and again, in the modern language of psychology, they say you are resorting to the neuroplasticity of your mind. What you think again and again, what fires together, wires together. You create a road in your mind. Once the road is created, which by repeated thought, then the love develops. All our likings are actually the things which we have repeated again and again. When you repeat again and again, first comes resolution out of need. Out of need, some resolution. I have to do it. It will serve some purpose for me. You do it. And a time will come, you forget the need. Just doing becomes your obsession. You develop liking for it. In all the religious tradition, though we find as per faith is concerned, they are so varied. But is there any religion which doesn't believe in repetition? You go to the church, the same prayer is repeated. You go to any mosque, the same prayer is repeated. You go to any, this so-called the Hindu temple, the idea of japa is there. In Sikhism also, the japa is there. The repeating of the mantra, repeating of the name. So repetition is a very important thing. What you are repeating is not important. Repetition itself is very important. And that repetition comes from your faith, simple faith. And when you do that, what happens? You start developing an emotional bonding with that idea. And that is very important. Once you have that emotional bond with that idea, now your meditation becomes spontaneous. It started with resolution. I didn't have any liking for it. I was told that you have to do at certain part of your day, every day in the morning or in the evening. whether it's in the church, whether it's in the mosque, or whether it's in the Hindu temple or in your own home, you have to repeat every day this mantra, this prayer, morning, evening. It was just a resolution. You had no liking. But I was asked to do it again and again, and know it for certain. You are bound to develop that emotional bonding once the path, that because of neuroplasticity, a path is created in your mind, and now you start liking. And now the meditation becomes spontaneous. How spontaneous? That real meditation can only come from emotion, from devotion. It is never a matter of resolution. Just to give an example, just think, do a mother ever meditates on the child, lest I forget my child? That why do we meditate? That I will forget God, so let me meditate morning and evening, that lest I not forget God. Let God be with me. So I meditate, I take a resolution. Does the mother meditate in the morning and in the evening, repeating his son's name, lest I forget? No. Whatever she may be doing, she may be in the office, she may be in her kitchen, wherever she may be, whatever work she is doing, you know, a part of her mind is always remaining with the child. Why? That love. Love makes the meditation spontaneous. So the resolution has got converted into emotion. Now when this emotion or devotion comes into picture, the contemplation becomes more spontaneous. Now another interesting thing happens. What? When you become tremendously focused because of your love, because of your devotion, your focus is increasing, you will find other things starts falling off. You will find that when you're watching the TV, a match is going on, someone calls you, don't hear. Why? As your mind is focused, though the sound is entering your ears, the mind cannot get connected with that words, the sound. Why? Because most of the mind is taken away by the object of your focus. So similarly, out of love, when the meditation becomes spontaneous, your focus goes on increasing, all the distractions starts falling off. At last, even the bodily feelings start falling off. That I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am tired. You'll find that a musician for hours together is playing on the music. He doesn't feel tired, he doesn't feel thirst. Why? All the focuses went onto the music. Even the bodily alarm system, that also is not registered. The hunger is due as an alarm, do create the pangs. But his mind is not in any way focused to that. The alter focus has been taken by the object of his contemplation. So here also the same thing happens. In the scriptures they say you reach a state of videha. That though you're in the body, you don't feel you have the body. And the last thing to fall off, if you concentrate. Just remember, what's the object of your meditation is not important. Whatever is the object, you had full faith. With the faith you had took a resolution, you started your journey, and then the flow came because of love, because of devotion, and it has increased your focus. Everything has started falling off. The last thing to fall off is the ego. That I am this body-mind complex. That doesn't fall off. You will find in all your thoughts that I is the nodal point. Based on this I, that I like this, I hate this. All our liking, disliking, our fear, everything is based on that I. That I is the nodal point. That always is engaged with a part of our mind. That's the basal remaining part which always remains. It is there. But when the meditation becomes extremely focused, that's why you will find Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel that when your love for the divine is how it is, that you have to add up the three most intense love which we experience in world as a human being. What are the three loves? Mother's love for the child, add up it with a miserly person's love for wealth, and a faithful wife's love for his husband. All these three love, if you can add up, just think of the intensity. If that type of intensity you develop, know it for certain you are going to realize God. Just Sri Ramakrishna's words are simple, but they speak something wonderful, that through your practice you develop that devotion which speaks of supreme love, which we have never experienced in this life. And that happens, and when that happens, then what happens? The focus becomes so intense that the basal thing, the only thing, that small thing, that small part of the mind which always remain intact with the ego, that also is taken away. And we become one with the object of meditation. That is called samadhi in our scriptures. That's the idea of triputi bheda. That however focused we are, all the distractions has fallen, but one thing we can never forget, that I am meditating. That this is the object of meditation, I am the meditator, and the meditation is the process which is connecting the object of meditation with me. This I can never forget. But when this intense love, intense devotion makes that focus so intense, then this ego also falls off, making you one with the object of meditation. And when the ego falls off, you become one with the object of meditation, then that wonderful thing happens. What happens? Sri Ramakrishna's simple words helps us to understand the profound philosophy more in a very easy way. His words are very simple but very profound. He says, you have created as if a hole in the wall of ego. The wall of ego is something which doesn't allow us to see the reality. And now I have created a hole. The ego has fallen off. A small hole has been created. And he's giving a very nice way he's saying. Suppose there is a wall, you don't know what is there on the other side of it, and you create a hole, and you peep through the hole, you see infinite expanse. There's infinity, nothing is visible, only just infinite expanse. And what you think? It is this hole through which I am peeping through that infinity. So this ego has clouded our vision. And now through that meditation, when it happens just for a moment, that ego has fallen off. You have created a hole, and immediately you become one with that unitary experience. Now the fact that the Vedanta is true is not because those who have practiced Vedanta have went to that realization. Then we would have told it is a way of programming, it is a way of stimulating your mind to go to a particular type of realization. No. In all the religious traditions, you will find with faith, just with faith, they started their journey, whatever they believe, they started their journey, and they went to the realization which is tallying with this Advaitic realization. That's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Shekhane shop shealer akra. When you reach there, all the fox howls in the same manner. And now you will find a wonderful thing. All go to that unitary experience. How? By creating a hole in the wall of the ego. Sri Ramakrishna has done that innumerable times through innumerable concepts of divinity. That's why Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel, if you read some of the sentences, are so simple, but we miss the point because we don't understand what's the real meaning behind it. It is saying all the various concepts and forms of divinities are the various holes that has been created in the wall of ego. Before Ramakrishna, we find all have created with all their sadhana, with all their spiritual practice, a single whole. I believe in Jesus. Jesus is the Son of God. By believing that, few are there who went to that experience, unitary experience, where Eckhart says, Meister Eckhart, the famous, that infinity lies in each and every moment. These are the sentences for which he was censored. When going to that realization, the Sufi saint says, Anal Haq. Al Haq means the truth. When you add an before it, it becomes blasphemy. Why? That means I am the truth. And immediately you find there's a lot of persecution. In all the religion you will find, when you are going to that, your idea of duality falls off. You become one with that unitary experience which speaks of infinity, which speaks of going to a domain which is beyond all limitation, which is non-local. It has lost its locality. There is no question of annihilation there. This is something, that's why in the famous book, The History of the World, William James' book on religion, that he's writing that what's the common of all the mystic realizations of all the religion? That they are noetic and it is ineffable. They cannot describe. They have went to a domain which cannot be described, but they have seen it. So it is something ineffable but noetic. In the simple words, this noetic and ineffable, these words can be understood more simply by the words of Sri Ramakrishna. That when you go to that realization, what's that realization like? In his words, it is just like tasting the butter. If you have tasted the butter, I ask you, what's the taste? Can you explain me? No, you cannot explain. But does it have a taste? Yeah, I have tasted it. Now I ask you what it is. So just in a simple word, it is noetic. I know. I have realized something, but it is ineffable. You cannot describe it. And that takes him to that domain. So now when we say that Sarva Dharma Swarupine, Sri Ramakrishna is the embodiment of all the religion. What he has actually done, that holding on to the faith, when he has went to the realization through innumerable paths, he created innumerable holes in the wall of ego to peep to the eternity through each and every hole. And that each and every hole speaks of the embodiment of each and every religion, because through that you are seeing the reality. And by creating the hole in the wall of ego, innumerable hole, he has become the innumerable representations of all the various religions. Through him, you can as if peep into all the truths of all the religion. The Sri Ramakrishna's words are wonderful. He says faith is very important. And in the gospel, some of the words are very, very direct. He says a very simple person went to a guru, a spiritual teacher, and asked him to instruct him in the spiritual way of living. The guru, finding him to be too simple, he gave him some useless word. But this man was sincere. He has utmost faith. He knew that this is my guru. Whatever he has given, that is going to take me to the realization. That meaningless, useless word, he started contemplating. After a few years, when he came back, the guru was amazed. He was a realized soul. In Bengali, they say, Garol Mantra Dikha, some useless word he gave him. So what it is, that what you believe is not important. How intensely you believe. Our fight is with what we believe. It's all useless. Whatever you may believe, how sincere you are, how intently you believe in it. Know it for certain, today's imagination is going to be your tomorrow's realization. It is the same. This practice is going to create a hole in the wall of ego at last if you're sincere. And that will enable you to peep through that framework to eternity. Some have created a hole with the concept of Jesus in the wall of ego. Some have created a hole with the concept of Rama in the wall of ego. Some might have created a hole in the wall of ego in the form of Krishna. There are thousands of ways. But once you create, this hole becomes just a framework to peep into that eternity. And that's the thing which when Swami Vivekananda is saying that he Sarva Dharma Swarupa, he became as if the embodiment of all the religion. By establishing all the religion, he became an embodiment of it. Now this last phrase is very important. Avatara Varishtaya. As we told, that here as if Swami Vivekananda is affirming his own guru as the supreme. It is most probably some type of fanaticism. Now here we will just point out one thing. It is not fanaticism. The way Swami Vivekananda understood is something very, very, very profound. So you know that whom we consider as most evolved, whom we consider. In the biology, there are various theories to understand that the evolution has happened. One of the theory is called recapitulation theory. Recapitulation theory. What is? It is that it states that ontogeny repeats phylogeny. What it actually speaks of? That if you study the embryology of any creature, the embryology, if you study the embryo, you'll find a wonderful thing. That as the creature is growing in the mother's womb, it actually traverses all the predecessors. That if it is already an evolved being, all the other predecessors from which it has evolved, it will traverse all the evolutionary journey of all its previous ancestors to at last become that advanced being. To give an example, as a human being in mother's womb, it takes 9 months from a single cellular organism to become a fully grown human being. in 9 months it happens. You will find sometime in the mother's womb we were just a single cellular organism, and when we were growing, sometimes we had the heart which was 2-chambered, then it became 3-chambered, and then at last it became 4-chambered. We had gills which got converted into lungs, just like fish we had gills. We had a tail which before birth falls off. So everywhere you will find very interesting thing that we are traversing the entire process of evolution at last to become a human being in 9 months. But an interesting thing has happened, that we have traversed this journey very fast. In mother's womb it has happened just in 9 months, which in nature took millions of years. In millions of years, that process of evolution, at last we all became the human in mother's womb just in 9 months. So what speaks of evolution? Traversing the entire course of evolutionary process in the short time. That speaks of evolution. Ontogeny repeats phylogeny. In the Ramakrishna's life we find what? In 12 years, being a spiritual glutton, the entire spiritual journey of the entire human race, from the tremendous curiosity he's traversing, he's conquering the citadel of each and every religion, one after other, in just 12 years, which took thousands of years for the entire humanity to evolve. That in the life of Sri Ramakrishna we find has happened just in 12 years. Now we will understand that why Swamiji is saying that not only that, Swamiji is saying he has not only traversed the already traversed journey of the world, the future of the humankind, which we are yet to traverse, he has already traversed that. He has already traversed that the world needs that idea that through all the paths we can reach the goal. We are yet to learn that. He has already traversed that. So this journey speaks of his tremendous evolution. So that's why he's Avatara Varishta. It's sometimes very difficult to relate to that word. I will just end this discussion with a very nice incident in the life of Ramakrishna. One day Ramakrishna was sitting by the bank of the Ganges, and a steamer was just passing in front of him. So another disciple was just sitting beside Ramakrishna. The steamer just passed in front of them, and after some time it was quite at a distance. It went quite far away. And then Sri Ramakrishna as well as the disciple noticed that the water is splashing on the bank. It is splashing on the bank. And then Ramakrishna, the master of examples, he told a wonderful thing. You will see, when the steamer was just in front of us, we never noticed any such turmoil. That the river, that it has already created a turmoil in the river, we haven't noticed. And when the steamer has went quite far, it took the waves, the turmoil took some time to come to the banks, and now it is splashing. The more the steamer goes far away, the more the splash you notice. So these lives are like that. They not only have traversed the past, they have traversed the future. And the more distance they go, then we find their ideas are splashing on the banks of our civilization. And then we start realizing how great they were. And from this background, we will understand why Swamiji is saying he is Avatara Varishta. What a magnanimous journey he has taken to reach a point where we as the entire humanity is yet to reach. So with these words, I would just say that Ramakrishna Te Nama, that why we should bow down to him, just with that goal, that the framework, the path which he has created, by bowing down to him, by acknowledging the tremendous contribution which he has played in the world of spirituality, by acknowledging that we also as if to take the oath, the resolution, that let us go beyond all the so-called narrowness and try to understand religion with sincerity. There shouldn't be any hypocrisy in it. Swami Vivekananda used to say the path of spirituality is very difficult. If 100 persons say that I am spiritual, you will find out of them 80% are hypocrites. 15% have lost their brain, deranged, and only 5% somehow are proceeding to that path. It's not an easy path to be sincerely devoted to that ideal with the idea that I have to go to that realization. It's not easy. But at the same time, it is not impossible. It is difficult. Climbing the Everest is difficult, but not impossible. Similarly, to adhere to this ideal may be very difficult, but not impossible. And for that, Sri Ramakrishna is our inspiration. So let he be our inspiration. For that, we bow down to him so that he can show us the way out from all the narrowness, all the bigotry, all the so-called hypocrisy which goes in the name of religion, and we can come out of it and sincerely proceed to this path. Why? After all, the world wants the utility. Even a fool doesn't do anything where there is no utility, there is no purpose. So what's the utility? That will help us as a human being to transcend the dualities of life and to traverse on this life as a Jivan Mukta, free while living. Vedanta asserts that fact, that you need not have to die to experience the bliss of liberation. In this life, here itself, you can enjoy the bliss of liberation by going to that realization. And for that, Sri Ramakrishna shows us the way. So with a prayer to him that we may be sincere in our spiritual journey and we too can transcend the so-called dualities of life and get established in that realization from where all the sufferings of life become insignificant. And not only that, we become the torch bearers that way. So with these prayers, I would end our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.